Hello, this is Tony Hiller from RealClimateScience.com. In 1898, Mark Twain wrote about the climate of India. When a person is accustomed to 138 degrees in the shade, his ideas about cold weather are not valuable. I believe that in India, cold weather is merely a conventional phrase and has come into use through the necessity of having some way to distinguish between weather which will melt a brass doorknob and weather which will only make it mushy. Hot weather occurs this time of year pretty much every year in India. June 8, 1935, thermometers have registered a record shade temperature of 124 degrees, and temperatures of 118 degrees are common over a wide area. May 27, 1935, 122 degrees in Madras, India. Numerous deaths from heat stroke have occurred. Destruction of a village has rendered thousands of inhabitants homeless. 1934, between India and Africa lies the hottest place on Earth. The mean temperature of Bahrain for the entire year is 99 degrees. July, August, and September are unendurable save for the natives. Night after night, as midnight comes, the thermometer shows 100 degrees. By 7 in the morning, it's 107 or 108 degrees, and by 3 in the afternoon, it's 140. June 2nd, 1934, unprecedented heat wave in India, 120 degrees. Many deaths have occurred. Hundreds die in 120-degree temperatures in India in 1966. 1932, people were dropping dead in the streets in India from the heat. June 1st, 1972, more than 500 people died from the heat in India. In the book Extreme Weather, weather historian Christopher Burt writes, probably the hottest major city in the world is Bangkok, Thailand, where the temperature reaches 90 degrees or more virtually every day of the year, and humidity often raises the THI index well above 120 degrees. The months of April and May are the hottest. The THI hits 130 degrees on occasion. At 9 a.m. on April 26, 2005, the dew point reached 89.6 degrees at the time the temperature stood at 91.4 degrees, resulting in a thermal heat index of 136 degrees. 136 degrees Fahrenheit is 58 degrees Celsius. This week, the heat index in Bangkok reached 52 degrees Celsius, which was 6 degrees cooler than 2005. This sort of heat wave occurs just about every year in Southeast Asia, but the press has declared the current heat wave to be the most extreme event in history. The Guardian explains, last year severe heat waves in India in April and June caused about 110 reported deaths due to heat stroke. Human-caused climate breakdown is supercharging extreme weather across the world, driving more frequent and more deadly disasters from heat waves to floods to wildfires. At least a dozen of the most serious events of the last decade would have been all but impossible without human-caused global heating. Last year's heat wave killed more than 100 people in India, but the one in 1972, during the global cooling scare, killed more than 500 people. And the heat waves and droughts of 1878 and 1896 killed tens of millions of people in India, China, and South America. Between 1875 and 1878, severe droughts ravaged India, China, and parts of Africa and South America. The result was a famine that struck 3 continents and lasted 3 years. But the press wants people to believe that the current heat wave, which has killed a few dozen people, is the most extreme climate event in history. What they're saying about climate is complete nonsense, which is standard for the press. But that's not the big story here. The big story is that they're trying to use their fake climate news to make energy unaffordable and unavailable for most people. If the climate scamsters succeed in doing what they want to do, the result will be that many more people will die from the heat. Fossil fuels don't cause bad weather, rather they protect us from the bad weather, which has always occurred. Toto's been pulling back the curtain on these rotten climate scamsters for 16 years. You can visit him and his family on the web at realclimatescience.com.